up the stress level. No, don't do it. Get a grip. This stupid video I just showed you. I almost stroked out and died over it. You're watching a different show. You donkey. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship. Don't do this to me, Harry. The Ohio State. It's Ohio State. What do you mean, the? 312-988-15.
Hello?
You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Oh, the voice is the voice is coming and going, struggling a little bit, but we're doing a little bit better. Welcome back, folks, to a Notre Dame blows out, totally destroys Stanford, and promptly drops in the polls edition of the Always Irish Show. You guys, it's the most Notre Dame-iest thing in the world in some ways. You're like, man, this feels good. Notre Dame piles it on somebody, totally destroys Stanford, like gets a huge blowout here, and you're feeling pretty good about it. And then you sit there and you look at Notre Dame, and it's that meme of Chris Farley. I forget which movie it was, Black Sheep, I think, and he's looking up with a big smile at what's going on, and then he doesn't like it, and then his face gets all sad. You're like, oh, Notre Dame moving up in the rankings this week with the big blowout. Okay, just kidding. And the other thing is, too, Angela, good to see you. Always good to have a Rudiger here. Callers, I see you. We got a good bank of early callers today. We're gonna get to you right away. And it's just kind of funny. It's just kind of funny to me how this all works. And there's some interesting things going on in the Notre Dame fan base and media that I'm struggling with that I want to touch on a little bit. But as for Notre Dame, a little bit frustrating. You drop in the rankings. You know, you see Brian Kelly shoot up a handful of spots because of his latest miracle win. He should have like 3 losses, but his latest miracle win, and he shoots up. And Iowa State, people are mad about Iowa State jumping at Notre Dame, whatever. The truth is, if Notre Dame just keeps winning, you're going to end up where you deserve to end up. And another reality is, don't lose to Northern Illinois. Sorry. Like, you could say whatever you want to say about the strength of everybody else's this and that, whatever. How about you just don't lose to Northern Illinois at home and you wouldn't have this freaking problem? How about we try that next time? Don't lose to Northern Illinois at home. And then we'll see where we're at. So whatever. And Mike says, go Bucks. Did you mean Ducks or Bucks? Did your local Buckeye troll disappear? Here's the thing, you guys. If you really think about it, callers, hold on. I'm coming to you. If you really think about it, I mean, yeah, it hurts to lose. It hurts for Ohio State to lose to Oregon hurts, and that was a painful way to end that game and everything. It's not the 4-team playoff era. Ohio State's going to be just fine. Like, that's where this 12-team thing really comes into play. Like, I am sure Ohio State's really frustrated they didn't get that win, but is it really going to hurt them that much? I mean, a little bit with seeding or whatever, but they're not going to get nailed and have like some unovercomable seeding or something now because they lost that tough game against a good team. They're going to be just fine. So it's like, see, this is kind of the cool part. We're finally getting far enough down the road on the new 12-team layout that you're starting to see how it's changing the landscape and the feel of the season. I think it was too early when it was early. Now I think you're starting to see the effects of this 12-teamer. Like Ohio State, yeah, you lost a heartbreaker, but you're still in championship position. It didn't ruin your whole season. It hurt that night, but you're still in playoff position. If it's a 4-teamer, you got a different situation. So I'm just saying, you're starting to see this 12-teamer and all that. Like, Ohio State's going to be just fine. So a frustrating night for sure, the way it ended, but they're going to be just fine. Look at this. Look at this, man. That means the world to me, Donnie. And I've been thinking about you, Donnie, because I've been missing you on the last couple post-game shows. I figured you were doing something, or you were at the games, or you were whatever, and I haven't seen you, or haven't seen you call in, too. It's been a while. So it's good to see you again, Donnie. Thanks. And it was great seeing you at the tailgate a few weeks ago, too. Dr. John, what's going on? Good to see you, Dr. John. Mike says, glad your voice is back. Yeah, that depends on who you ask. You guys, I get you. If you've been around here long enough, you know I get this every year. Whenever those seasons happen and we go from warm to cold, I go through a sinus thing, blah, blah, blah. Usually I don't lose my voice. That was kind of scary since I talk so much for my job. And then when we get into spring, coming from the cold to the warm, it happens too. Ohio podcast. Eric, this is the perfect question for you. I don't know if you just jumped on or not. But Eric, I was talking about like really frustrating end to that game and that battle for Ohio State. But they're going to be just fine in the 12-teamer. Like, you didn't drop that much. You got respect for losing a really tough fought game between really skilled teams with a lot of talent on the field and a back and forth matchup and where it was at, tough environment and all this. So Eric, you guys are going to be fine. Like, I know you're frustrated and you wanted to win that game and you don't want a loss on the ledger. I totally understand all that. And for playoff positioning, I get it all, but you could still win. All your dreams are in front of you, Eric. I think you're starting to see this 12-teamer play out. Okay, callers, we're going to get to you. I want to thank everybody. Donnie, that means the world to me, man. We'll put that on and it'll go for the next call-in show. And you know what else I want to say too? Something weird happened. This was not just with me, but with like all the shows in our niche. Nobody's post-game show did great numbers in the Notre Dame niche. And it was kind of like, I think, like nobody had a huge night of all of us in the niche. And I just think it was a matter of there was like 5 other games that were awesome and everybody wanted to watch those games. My numbers weren't great. I looked at a couple of the other channels and I know what they usually do on a post-game show. Everybody was low. And I just think everybody wanted to watch Kelly and everybody wanted to watch Ohio State, Oregon. And it was just, there was a lot going on Saturday night. Mikey Poles, it's good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Ohio Pod. If we went out, we could play them again in the Big Ten title game and be in the top 4. You're right, John. Welcome to the new college football. Yeah, in a 4-team situation, I would react a lot worse to losing that heartbreaker the way you did and being so close to having a chance to win it at the end and all that. But I just think, man, this 12-teamer, you're right in the mix. I understand the frustration. I'd be frustrated too. I get it, but your dreams are still in front of you. And so I don't know, folks. And so I want to thank everybody for dealing with my voice. Callers were coming to you. I know I've said that 3 times already. So here you go. Notre Dame blows out Stanford, and it was a great start after the break, the bye week. And I want to add this: Freeman, for as many ups and downs as Marcus Freeman has had in his early Notre Dame tenure, he has never lost a game coming out of a break at Notre Dame. And so that's for all the complaints there is with Marcus Freeman. I have anxiety about where the recruiting operation. I have real anxiety about right now and where this is headed and all this. But I will give I will give Freeman credit for that. He has not dropped the game yet coming out of the break. And Andrew says we're playing a glorified group of 5 schedule. Yeah, if you just keep winning, you're going to be fine if you're Notre Dame. But how about you don't lose to Northern Illinois and you wouldn't have these problems to begin with? We need to acknowledge that. Let's just get that out of the way. It's not like I saw a lot of reaction on Twitter to those rankings and people were frustrated. Listen, if you don't lose to Northern Illinois, you don't have this problem. That is totally your fault. That is totally your fault. Okay. Pierre, I think, is trolling. John would agree when I say Freeman's on the right track and deserves an extension. He is not proven enough to deserve that extension, either on the field or in recruiting. I think you're just trolling me. So, no, that is not true. We're in the middle of the season. We got to focus on the week to week, but this recruiting thing's got to trend in a different direction as well. But that's not really a conversation I want to have in the meat and potatoes of the season and all this stuff. But that recruiting thing makes me a little nervous. So I want to know what you guys think. Okay. Is this game a big deal to you or not? We got a full bank of calls now. I got to get over there, get you guys going. Is this win a big deal for you or not? You got to keep winning to be in the playoff. I think if you're Notre Dame, and you did it, you were a 23.5 point favorite. You kicked the crap out of them and blew them out. Does it move the needle for you or not? Or are you going to say they're terrible? This is what you got to do against terrible team. You expect them to blow them out. Like, what do you want? What do you want Notre Dame to do? I don't know. I'll say this, then we'll give it to the calls. Give my voice a little break. Number one is you needed this win and you got the win. Number two, I like that it was a well-rounded win. And what I mean by well-rounded is the defense allowed 7 points early and then shut down and didn't allow anything after that. The passing offense for Notre Dame, let's be very, very clear. It is still not good. Can we be crystal clear about that? Notre Dame's passing offense is still no good. It's not good. It's not good. But for us, 229, it may as well be 429, bro. Or 420 if you need to relax. Like, literally, our passing offense is not good. 229 for us is 429 for any other team. Good job. Mitchell, Raridan, Thomas, I love seeing them get in the end zone. Good for them, whatever, okay? And then you had 229 on the ground. I like that it was a little more balanced. For us, this was a good day throwing the ball around. And I went over leading into the game how their deep pass defense was ranked 122nd out of like 130 teams. So you should have been able to throw it around, and you did. Maybe you could at least have a little confidence off this. Dave 86 says the recruiting trend, half our starters are freshmen and sophomores. We haven't seen this much talent since the 90s. I'm looking at, listen, man, Dave. You cannot maintain recruiting on the momentum on the recruiting trail when you are losing the highest rated guys out of every class. And that is what's happening to Freeman. I have a real problem with it. I don't care what else you want to tell me about the depth and the traits, and these guys are on the field early, and I love what Bryce Young's doing. I love all this stuff too. No one can tell me you're able to maintain proper recruiting momentum when you're losing the highest ranked guys out of all your classes. That is happening to Freeman every year, and it's a huge problem. So I love the young guys that are playing now and contributing. Yet you had 4 true freshmen contributing and making plays against Louisville in a must-win game against an undefeated top 15 team, and I love that. I'm still holding to this. You cannot close. You're not closing the gap if you're Notre Dame, and you cannot tell me you have recruiting momentum when you're losing the top-ranked guys in your class. You can't do it. It's physically impossible to maintain momentum when you're doing it, and it's happening every year. So, Chad, I was told, you can't let Chad leave the building. Top 5 classes are going to go with them. Well, we're dropping. We're dropping. We're not rising. We're dropping in the rankings. So I got a little anxiety about that. Dave, your highest ranked defensive player flipped and went to Michigan, and the quarterback that could change the possibility of the entire program just left as well. You're not going to win this one, man. I know you want to feel better about it, but you're not going to win it. Look at where Notre Dame was ranked a few months ago in the recruiting, near the top 5, even near the top 1. And ever since summer, we've been going the other way. We're trending the wrong way. Does Will Black throw passes? Does Will Black catch passes? Because I need guys that can do both, and we don't have that. I'm sorry. I'm a little frustrated with the recruiting stuff. All right. We need to get to these calls. 574, what's going on? If you're on hold, you're going to be on the air. What's going on? I think I could get everybody in. Let's go. 574, what's up? Good morning.
John. It's Wine and Cheese. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, Wine and Cheese? Thanks for being here. What do you make of Notre Dame's situation? I thought it was a good, well-rounded victory. That's what I liked most about it, is you were able to throw the ball a little bit better than we usually are, and that's a positive.
Yeah, I think. I mean, it's really all you could ask for, given the progress that we've made so far this season. Sure, there's more to be desired. I did have a question because you said that the passing offense isn't great, and I, to an extent, agree. But what is your marker for a good, competent passing offense? Because I think people look at the 17-year-old at Alabama, and say, well, we're not that, therefore we're not good. So my question to you would be, what is an offense, through the air that you can genuinely look at and say, like, that was good, that was successful, that's where Notre Dame needs to be.
Like, I don't even have to put numbers on it. Like, could it just not look like pulling teeth to be able to matriculate the ball down the field through the air every single game? Like, the fact that when we do complete some passes, everybody's like, oh my God, what a great surprise. Like, that all tells you where this is at, man. Like why is it so hard for Notre Dame to throw the ball down the field all the time and move it through the air? So I was happy to see the 229 and the 3 touchdowns to 3 guys that got in the end zone. It just always feels like it's so hard for us to do, and it's asking too much to be able to throw it down the field, man.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I understand that it's been a little bit difficult to put a drive together on the back of our passing offense.
Yeah, and a lot of that has to do with the line too. This is not all in a vacuum. There's a lot of pieces to this. I think Riley Leonard missing all of spring has something to do with this. The offensive line situation has a lot to do with all this. The wide receiver room has a lot to do with this. And Denbrock trying to pull it all together and draw up plays that they could all operate. Every one of those pieces is a piece to this puzzle. So this is a very complicated mosaic with a lot of things involved here. I'm not blaming it all on one person, but all of those things have combined to make it harder than it has to be to throw the ball.
Yeah, I do think you mentioned Denbrock. I think scheme also plays a part in this, because if you think about how many of our passes are something that's catch and get tackled or catch and get run out of bounds, there's not a whole lot of creativity for catch and run.
Yep. A lot of, what do you call it? What do you call it? Like a lot of standstill passes, right? Where a guy turns around and then the ball hits him and he's right there and then he's out of bounds or he's tackled. There isn't a lot of leading a guy in stride to where there's 25 yards after the catch and you're throwing it before a guy makes his break and the ball is going to be where he's going to be and we're off to the races. That is a different level of passing offense, and I wish we had more of it. You're right. I call it more like standstill catches, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, so we have Chris Mitchell, and he is a vertical burner, but a super slow DB can close a 2-yard gap if that's all there is, and Chris Mitchell's running 8 yards, stopping, turning, catching the ball. It's that doesn't actually take advantage of his speed. If you can get him running away from a guy and you have a slow DB trying to catch up to Chris Mitchell, it's you turn a 6-yard pass into 30 extra yards on the ground because he's just that fast.
Yeah.
But we're not calling anything like that.
Yeah. Do you think that, let me ask it, and I'm open to this, man. Coming out of the bye, you were able to run the ball for 230 almost and pass it for 230. Do you think what is this worth in confidence? Do you believe in that? I was thinking about that yesterday too, watching some of the NFL games, and I was just thinking, I wonder does Riley Leonard and these offensive players feel better now about the passing game? Maybe they just needed a little spark and a momentum or something to show them that there's more available to them in the passing game. Like seeing Mitchell and Thomas and Reardon get that spark something. Am I being over hopeful that maybe this inspires some confidence that wasn't there before? Am I being too like cheerful on that?
I think there is some confidence to be gained from a game like this, but I'd say where the most confidence is found is that we are consistently progressing. And as long as we win every game for the rest of the season, I'd rather be at our peak when all of the college football playoff seeding is being decided. Because if we're like, if we're progressing, let's say we're at 60% of our potential right now, and we're at 100% as we beat down USC, and that's the last thing that we show the committee. It's like that's where I want to be, and I think given our constant progression, I think that's where we will be, and that's what gives me the most confidence.
Okay, I like this. So follow me here. Now you got a couple things here. Now one is, can you keep getting incrementally better week in and week out here on the back end of this? Just keep getting a little bit better, keep getting more effective in the passing game, keep getting a little bit better. Here's my question for you. What is that level of 100% like of getting better look like when you're battling the amount of injuries Notre Dame has? Like what is 100? That's another question I've had all weekend in my head. What is 100% improvement of what we are capable of being with the vast amount of injuries and problems we have? Where does that level put you? Because those injuries are going to be a part of the narrative the second half.
Well, I'd say first thing, cleaning up silly penalties, silly lost yards, just ways that we're shooting ourselves in the foot, those being practically non-existent.
Yeah.
I understand you have a young offensive line. They're still going to make mistakes. But, you know, if Riley Leonard picks up 25 yards in a scramble, that we're not, you know, 2nd and 20 after that off a holding call. Yeah, the passing offense needs to improve. I would say that's more of a scheme thing because, yeah, we're not taking advantage of our full potential wide receivers. And maximizing their skill set. I mean, at the beginning of the year, we thought we have all this speed. The vertical passing offense is going to be out of control this year. And really no team's going to be able to handle it because you can either choose to get burned over top or having Jeremiah Love run all over you. So pick your poison. I think we need to get back to that. We actually need to mainly improve our passing offense to the point where it's something that teams
you got to respect. Yeah. Yep.
You got to respect it because
that opens up the run game.
Yeah. When we get to a point where teams are in a situation defensively of pick your poison, I think that's when we officially maximize what our offense can be because that's what it was supposed to be. And that's what we brought in a lot of these quick guys to do.
Yeah, it'll be nice. Just incremental improvement, man. Now this reconfigured offensive line's been together for a while now. I don't think it's too much asked that they just keep kind of getting a little bit better and a little bit better. And we see where we go from here. So I don't know, man. It was a good blowout. Good not to sweat it out. I liked that it was well-rounded. You had good defense, you had good run numbers, and for us, really good passing numbers. For us, not in the nation, but for us, good passing numbers. Anything else on a Reaction Monday here on your mind?
Yeah, actually, the main reason I wanted to call in, I was listening to your show yesterday. I couldn't call in on Saturday because I was at the game. But some guy was calling in complaining about running up the score.
Yep, it's been the talk of the weekend here. Didn't like us running it up and mad at Freeman.
I just about lost my mind.
Apparently we didn't run it up enough because we dropped in the polls. So apparently you didn't run it up enough.
No, I don't think we ran it up enough. I was sitting there right behind the Stanford bench. I was chirping at him. I was letting him know. But yeah, the fact that you would fire a coach over being because you have Miami PTSD from the 80s, that's really sad. This isn't football is not a game where the winning team scores 14 points and the losing team scores 6. Like, it's not that kind of game anymore.
Yeah.
For one. And then two, this guy has no idea what an adequate margin of victory is. I mean, he's saying we're running up the score. It's like, okay, so should we take a knee once we're up 21 points? That's sad. This is Notre Dame, and that is a loser mentality. Loser mentality. I'm not calling him a loser. I'm saying if he was a football coach, that is a mentality that will cause you to lose.
Yeah, man, we
would want to fire Freeman over that.
We are barely in a position to pile it on anybody. When you could do it, it feels good to do it and stretch it out a little bit. Like, it wasn't on my radar. I'm worried about a million other things, but he was disgusted by it, and everybody can believe what they want to believe. Some of that Miami scar to Jimmy Johnson scar tissue. So I don't know, man, but that guy is a nice guy. He's a regular caller. He thinks of things a little differently than a lot of people and a lot of things. But I didn't have that one on my bingo card. Hey, man, thanks for giving me a call, getting us started on a Monday. Really appreciate you and your funny screen name. It makes me laugh every time.
All right. Yes, sir. Go Irish.
Have a good one. Take care. Thank you. Couple chats. We'll go right back to the calls. Oh, man. The ND schedule panning out to be weak. Panning out, we all thought it was going to be weak going into the year. It's just weak for different reasons than we thought. Your brand name teams outside of A&M, but you got Florida State's down bad, USC's down bad, and then your late risers are the military academies. It's just kind of weird, man. John, you're going to see a lot more passing from Riley Leonard. This game helped his confidence. I'm totally open to that, and I'm hoping for that. Like, if you want to be like, I'm not impressed by you throwing it around on these guys because they were ranked 122nd in pass efficiency defense and they're banged up and they suck. If you want to say that, I'm totally with you. But I do think there's some confidence gained. You come out of the bye, you put up your best passing numbers of the year. It looked nice to see you spread it out a little bit and throw it around a little bit. You could ride off that. Adam Dowling, thanks again for dinner. Went out with the Dowlings Friday night for my birthday, their anniversary, out at the lighthouse there, looking over the water. Oh, some ice cold Miller Lite, a steak, and a baked potato. You can't beat it. Adam, thanks for the hospitality. 0 quality home games that the Notre Dame fan can get excited for. In my opinion, that's the biggest problem with the stadium atmosphere. It would be nice to have some more kind of big time matchups, I guess. Oh, you're not wrong about that. 6:01. Let's have a little fun. What's going on?
Hey, John, what's up?
Not much. Just enjoying a Victory Monday game. What do you make of the weekend in college football or Notre Dame's blowout victory? What's on your mind?
Well, obviously you can't be mad at a win, and they absolutely laid an egg on Stanford, so that's great.
Yeah, and listen, dude, listen, man, I'm getting some crap here. I'm taking some crap of people saying, like, you did what you're supposed to do. You're a 23.5-point favorite. Like, there's not. Well, we were huge favorites over Stanford last time they came to our place, and they left with the win. We were hugely favored over Northern Illinois at our place, and they left with the win. So, like, it may be a low bar, but progress is progress. At least you kick the crap out of a team you should kick the crap out of. Like, that's the problem I have. Yeah. You got goals here that we're not good enough to even start to look at yet. The number one goal is you blow out a team you should blow out, and you did it. Good job. All right, I'm good now. Sorry about that. I'm good now.
After losing to NIU, I mean, every single game after that, it's like you don't really know what's going to happen. So like when you see them play like you expect them to play, that's always good to see.
Yeah.
And as far as where they are in the rankings, I mean, it's really hard for me to justify Notre Dame being ranked over a lot of one-loss teams because, I mean, that NIU loss is really bad. So and it's like I don't even –
Here, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. So, okay, Notre Dame's schedule is not amazing where you're going to have a lot of high-profile wins the rest of the year that are going to bolster your ranking or whatever. But is this a scenario to you where the Northern Illinois loss is going to outweigh a lot of what you do on the positive end, right? Like if you have positives and negatives on your resume, I'm sorry, but that Northern Illinois loss is going to weigh you down a lot more than a lot of SEC teams one loss. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it can later in the year. I mean, that one loss can make the difference between whether or not Notre Dame is playing at home or going somewhere. And that just because even though they have one loss, it's because they lost to NIU, that could be the difference. And that's frustrating.
Right.
It really is. Like, I think you can still finish 7 or 8 and it's still a home game. Is that right? In the playoff ranking?
If you what? I think it's 5 through 8.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I mean, and they could place 9, right there, looking on the outside, looking in, and then they have to go somewhere on the road just because that one loss is the NIU, and that frustrates me so much.
Yeah, it really, really does. It does. But listen, it would be a good. You just caused yourself a lot of unneeded problems by losing that game, and so the first thing is, if you even make that playoff, it means you won every single game since week 2. That alone is a really, really tough thing to do. And then when you're in, then you'll have to recalibrate. What's our situation? Did we sneak into one of those hosting seeds, or are we going to Georgia? Like, you know what I mean? Then are you going to Ohio State? Like, you're going to have to really figure out your situation at that point. But if you get there, that's the first priority because it ain't easy to win out from week 2, but you put yourself behind the 8 ball.
John, I don't think I can stomach another loss to a group of 5 team. I don't think I can. I think it just makes me sick. We did it this year. And if we did it again at any other point, it's so sick because, like, this is Notre Dame football. We should not be losing to anyone outside of the Power 4, and it's like there has to be a standard, right, as a fan base at Notre Dame. Like we cannot be losing to IU. We can't be losing to Marshall. We can't be losing to,
Yeah. Here, let me see if you agree with me on this. Here's why those kind of games bother me so much. If you lose a game because you physically just cannot match up with the other team because they just have way better athletes and more of them, and they're bigger and faster and stronger and deeper, that is a different kind of football loss than a loss that is because you didn't prepare or take a team seriously or mentally you weren't engaged. Those are the losses I have no patience for. Marshall, Stanford, and Freeman's first year, this game, like those are the ones you can't afford to have where you have way more talent and you just weren't ready to play. That is mental, and I have no patience for that.
Absolutely no patience at all. Like, I'm sick of it. And they look like they're turning things around. I mean, I think, and I'm so impressed with Riley Leonard, how he's played the last 2 games. Like, he's really stepped it up in his passing game. And, I mean, I think a lot of people can agree that his game against Stanford was the best performance he's had all season. I mean, what was it? 4 total touchdowns, 3 of them were through the air. And
that was good to see. That was a really, really good flip.
Yeah.
Something that was new for us, something to see. Tyrone says, Christ, move on. Northern Illinois was week 2. It was awful. We know. Listen, man, I don't like talking about it either, but it is relevant to everything that's going to go on this year. That is like the main keystone that everything revolves around. It was that bad of a big moment that it's a part of the narrative every single week. So I understand wanting to forget about it, but you can't forget about it. It's a piece of this every week. The Northern Illinois loss doesn't just go away. It's not a regular loss. It doesn't just go away. It follows you around like a shadow. It's a big one.
Yeah, unfortunately, at the end of the regular season, when playoffs come around and everybody's talking about where we're going to end up, every single sports media in the country are going to be talking about Notre Dame and their loss at IU. So I mean, it's not going away. Like we're going to be talking about this for the rest of the season. So buckle up.
Yep. So all you could do is win. All you could do is win out. But I did feel like there was some progress in this game, even against a bad team. The defense did their thing, shut down everything after that first bad drive. And you threw it around a little bit. You ran it a little bit. I feel better about this game than I have a lot of our wins because it was more well-rounded. So I do feel some progress was made here, even against a horrible team.
We saw a lot of RPOs. We saw a lot of play action. We saw some screens. Jeremiah Love is a freaking stud on that screenplay. He scored against Miami of Ohio, and then he had a big play against Stanford. 2 of the touchdowns that were scored was off RPO. So I really do like. Me personally, I thought the play calling in the pass game was really good. I thought Mike Denbrock did a really good job. I think it was his best game he's called as far as opening up the pass. And one thing I'm concerned about,
and I know they're bad at it. I know they're bad at defending the pass, but that's why it was important to see that Notre Dame could take advantage of it and gain some confidence. Like that's the comeback to it is, yeah, we did that, but they're really bad against it. Yeah, and you needed to show you could take advantage of it, and we did. That's progress for this team.
Yeah. One thing I am concerned about though is I felt like I was seeing too many. And I know Riley probably. I think he threw a couple balls that could have been a lot more accurate. But like, I don't know. I felt like I was seeing some receivers drop some really catchable balls, and I feel like we've seen that a little bit throughout the season. And I don't know if that's just because they're not. They haven't. You know, I would understand like why the receivers wouldn't be super confident in the passing ability recently, you know, and when they get those opportunities, they're like, oh my God, you know, and it might overwhelm them or anything or something. But like, you know, some of the balls that got dropped were big time plays. They would have been big time plays. And I really hope, you know, they Riley doing good, builds up their confidence and gets their head in the game, you know, and I hope it's not like a reoccurring theme throughout the season because I think we got some great receivers. I just, you know, I don't want to see them miss those opportunities is all. But,
I think it was some progress made there. And it's actually I feel better about this win than I have a lot of our wins just because of the balanced nature of it with every part of the team kind of doing their part. I thought it was well-rounded and I like seeing it. And you just need to keep winning. And now you go into this Atlanta Dome thing and it's a whole different environment and a unique situation. And you go in there and you just battle your way and try and win another game. Like this is just going to be a week-to-week battle for Notre Dame the rest of the way. It's going to be stressful, and this is the way it is, man. You're going to have 6 unique challenges, and you just got to scratch and claw out wins. It's that simple. It's all you can do.
And it's going to be like that every week.
Yep.
And I'm worried about Georgia Tech. They're a good football team. But I am really, really worried about Navy and Army. Like they got something completely new going on. Like I don't know if anyone's watching. They're not really doing flex bone formations that much anymore. Like a lot of their offense is out of the spread. They're doing like 2 backs, triple option out of the spread, and they're throwing the ball way more. Like their offense is explosive, and they've been beating the crap out of everybody they played.
Yep.
Everybody.
And now you want to talk. You want to talk about like things are. Listen, man, you want to talk about a Northern Illinois loss being bad? What if you had 2 losses and one of them's to Northern Illinois at home and the other one's to Navy? How do you think that's going to play in the Notre Dame fan base and media? Try that on for size. Try that on for size. Son of a buck. I'm telling you, it's dude, it's not that far-fetched. Could you imagine a scenario where Notre Dame's sitting there with a home loss to Northern Illinois and losing to Navy? Just imagine what this is going to be like. Whoa.
I'm It's only 2 weeks away.
I know.
Like, I'm not trying to overlook Georgia.
That's
Tech.
what I was just going to say.
Worried.
I was just going to say, I'm trying to not do that because then you're going to have more problems. Like, I am trying to just focus on what's ahead of us, but it's going to be really, really interesting. And again, the problem with playing Army and Navy is even if they're really good, you don't get a lot of credit for beating them. And if they're bad and you lose to them, your whole life's ruined and you get ridiculed forever. So it's really not a good situation for Notre Dame. I don't know, man. Just one win at a time. One win at a time. Anything else, my friend?
Well,
Thanks for calling.
Yeah, one last thing. And this is about Army and Navy. By watching them play this year, I really think if I had to choose a group of 5 champion that would get in the playoffs, I would say probably Army or Navy, even if one of them only has one loss.
Man.
Notre Dame.
Ooh.
I really see that happen. I think Army or Navy are probably going up in the playoffs.
Oh, man.
Right now.
Dude, what are the odds Notre Dame ends up with both of them on the schedule when they both have really good offenses and they're trending up or whatever? Like, I'm trying to focus on this stupid dome situation in Atlanta, and then we'll worry about that. But it's going to be interesting, and you just got to grind out these wins one way or another. Hey, thanks for the call on a Monday. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Have a good one.
Thanks a lot. Oh, got to blow my nose. Be back in 2 seconds. Callers, we're coming back to you. Oh, boy. Yeah, Army's really good. Navy's really good. And you're going to get no credit if you beat them both. And it's going to be stressful. And if you lose to them, your life's over. 240, what do you know? Welcome to the show. Good morning.
Hey, John. Hey, I hope you're feeling better. And, I thought I'd give you a call. I called you during the high tide after A&M. I called you during the low tide after Northern Illinois. So I thought I'd give you a call here now while the waters are somewhat calm. And as we get ready here for Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks for checking in. And so he's done a good job since Northern Illinois and kept winning. Good blowout here, well-rounded game. Tricky schedule in front of us with 6 unique games. What do you think?
Well, I'd like to start off you got to, for now, you have to give I like where the direction we're heading. We're making you got to give Freeman and the team a little credit for getting off the mat, responding to that loss. Every week presents a different challenge, and they've, kind of righted the ship for now. And like you say, there's a lot more this past week where they were able to work on the passing game a little bit. I know everybody likes that. Being able to the downfield passing and all, which is nice. But, John, I'm okay with that running the ball. And, to me, a well-designed screen pass can go a long way, just like that Louisville game. But last week there, they come out throwing the ball. So I think every week you're going to see a little bit of, an improvement, which I like where we're going. I just they sort of got the waters calm for now.
Yeah. Do you feel like, I'm hopeful Notre Dame could incrementally improve, especially offensively from here. Are you worried about, the limitations on that high-end ceiling, giving all the injuries on this team and how many young guys you got playing and depth guys you have along the offensive line and on the edge on the defense, you're down to your 3rd and 4th string guys. Like, are you worried that that's going to catch up to Notre Dame on the second half of the schedule? Or are you a believer in Notre Dame's depth and youth that they'll be able to hold it all together?
Well, I'm hoping more than confident. That's why I like these middle of the road games here now where we're supposed to be able to win. At least you're getting these younger kids on the field here now and getting more and more experience. That's the other thing I think you got to tip your hat to Freeman and the staff for getting it under control. Is like you say, the injuries. I mean, we are, with Botello and then the guy behind him going down.
It's really tough.
The offensive line to start the season. Yeah.
So how do you see?
Say you got to win it.
That's where I see exactly. This is where I run into some confliction in my own brain is There's a ton of those injuries, and it's a big deal. And they're at key spots here on offense and defense. But that's not ever an excuse to be like, well, we're going to lose another game because of the injuries. Like, you can't use it as an excuse for lowering your expectations. But also, the whole next man up thing bothers me because the next man up isn't the first one in for a reason. So like, I really struggle to figure out what is the reality there of what you are realistically, what's realistic to expect out of these teams when you have that many injuries. But I just keep getting a little bit better each week. I think you should be able to do that now.
Yeah, I agree because like I say, you're getting the experience now. And like you say, it's not so much the next man up, it's the next man up after the next man. You know, we're going, we're getting into that deep. We're getting into that thing. Getting down to the road. Now, I'll tell you, I don't mean to add any more worry or concern, but you know, before the year began, I was talking to my daughter's boyfriend at the beach, and he asked me about Notre Dame season. I said, they're college kids. They're going to have a hiccup along the way. He said, do you think they're going undefeated? I said, they're going to probably slip up somewhere. And I had this game as the not so much that I had this guy. I was worried about the Georgia Tech game, but I was wondering, do you know when exam week is out there? This ain't exam week this week by chance for them kids are coming up. It's got to be sometime in October, I think.
I don't think we're there yet. I think we have a little bit longer, don't we? Somebody should be able to know that, but it isn't going to be me. I think it's a little bit early for that. Maybe not. Good. That's a good question, though.
Yeah. That's the part over the years I've noticed I think last year it was the Duke week or whatever. I mean, I've noticed over the years that exam week, they're like zombies coming into there. I remember Holtz used to say how and I thought, oh boy, I hope this isn't this week.
Well, there are negatives. Hey, there are negatives when you actually make your college football players actually go to college. There are negatives. There are downsides when you make your players actually go to school. I know it's hard to believe, but it's a little taxing.
Yeah. But no, I like where we're going, John. You know, like I said, they're starting to trend in the right way, and hopefully the injuries going to pause on these injuries and come out here now. You know, who would have thought that after last year we had trouble on the road? Now it's almost better that we're out of coming out flat.
I can't. So maybe dude. Do you know how long I've thought about this and can't make it make sense why this team seems to come out way more prepared to play on the road than at home? I can't figure it out, and it's bothering me every day.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
We had the solution last year. You and the Notre Dame hype man, get this team prepared no matter where they're at. You know?
Oh man, it's just it's frustrating. And so I don't know, you just got to keep winning. Does it bother you at all that Notre Dame dropped in the rankings, or are you figuring if you just run it out and keep winning, you're going to end up in it where you deserve anyways? Does that bother you at all or no?
Yeah, my daughter's boyfriend was there last night and he told me where they were ranked, and I thought, you got to be kidding me. But I get mad. But then I don't, because the wins are going to take care of themselves. If right now it can get upset over it, but there's a lot going to happen between now and the end of the year. There's going to be upsets in front of us, and there are going to be upsets behind us, and hopefully it ain't an upset with us. But,
somebody's saying that it looks like the finals or the midterms it would be, or the 10th and the 11th. Somebody's saying that. I can't verify that, but that's what somebody put in the chat.
10th and the 11th of
October, I assume.
November?
No, I think that we're talking about midterms that have already happened, I think.
Oh, so they're already through them then. Okay. Good. But, but coming back to I think it makes me mad, yes. I'm thinking I thought for at least we'd jump up a couple. And but like I said, I think over the course of the year, the wins will take care of itself, and we'll be right where we need to be, because there's going to be things along the way. I was hoping for Penn State to fall there. That would have been a good Southern Cal beating them, and then us beating Southern Cal at the end of the year. That would have been a good bargaining chip there when they make their decisions. But I think we'll be fine. Long as you just got to win out. We kind of like golf. We we used our mulligan on the second hole.
Yep.
You know, we
Well,
have no more mulligans.
no, that was the really, really frustrating part of this. That was the frustrating part of this is I always felt that Notre Dame entered this year in the 12-teamer with one game in their pocket of leeway to play with. The issue is the one game couldn't be used on Northern Illinois. That's the problem.
Right.
So you did that. You did that to
gonna...
yourself. You did it to yourself. Week 2 at your place. You put yourself behind the 8 ball with all this pressure week to week to be perfect. You did that, and now you got to win your way out of it. There's only one way out of this, and it's to win all your games. You can only win your way out of it. That's the only answer. Only solution.
Yep. And it's right in front of him. You know, and as a team, as a coach, as a player, you don't want to have to rely on somebody else for help to get in.
Yeah,
Notre
exactly.
Dame's got it all right in front of them. It's all right there. You win. If they win out, they'll be in. You know, and that's
Yep.
And like I said, then the rankings will take care of themselves.
Yep, you're right about that. But man, I'm telling you though, it is a stressful thing riding this Notre Dame wave every week to week. Man, you never know what you're going to get, and it's really stressful. And it's a wild ride.
Well, I got to sit down for this week's game, but I told you at the beginning of the year it was a good analogy when I texted you or talked to you. I said, buckle up, John, prepare for the roller coaster ride that is Notre Dame football. And boy, we've been on a ride so far.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Hey,
thanks a lot for the call on a Monday, man. Always really, really good to hear from you. Give me a call again in the near future, will you?
Yeah, well, I'll try there. Like I said, I'm at work at Columbus State. Didn't have to win today, so I'm going to give John a call. But I will, John. Hey, I enjoy your show. Enjoy your content. Tell the family I said hello, and go Irish.
Oh, thank you very much, my friend. Enjoy the day off work. Yeah, everybody that's off for a day, God bless you, man. Be able to relax a little bit. 949, you're up on the line. What's going on?
Hey, I'm off every day.
Well, that's even better. That's even better then. Good for you.
And hopefully the Irish won't be off anymore this year. Here's what I'm looking at.
Okay.
This weekend could be very exciting because I got Louisville for a win. I got Virginia for a win. I'm going to cheer my ass off for Wisconsin to pull off upsets. CF could pull off an upset. That'll help us quite a bit. We'll move up quite a bit. And then looking at other things that will help Army and Navy, you got Michigan, Illinois. They're going to knock each other out. Syracuse could beat Pitt. Auburn over Missouri. Oklahoma over Ole Miss. UNLV over Boise. OK State over BYU, and that also moves up A&M. So, what could have been a terrible schedule on paper, it is seemingly shaping up for us. So that could help. Where we're ranked now, I don't care.
Yeah.
And the reason I don't is the only poll that matters is the one by the commission, the playoff commission in November.
Yeah.
And
do you agree with this? Do you agree? Here's my thought on this. Here's my thought. When you lose to Northern Illinois week 2 at home as the huge favorite you were, you get what you get, and you're really not allowed to complain. Like, that's honestly what I feel about that ranking right now is you lost a game you couldn't lose, and you're just what you're going to get. And a lot of these people are going to think Big Ten losses and SEC losses are going to be a lot better losses than what we had. You get what you get when you do what we did. It's unfortunate. There are consequences. You got to just take it.
Well, I'll take it a step further. There's a reason that the windshield is bigger than the rearview mirror. I think we got to stop looking back as fans and just look forward. Are we improving? Now, granted, the first 4 plays were passes, and I'm pulling my hair out this last game. But then I look at the stats, and it's like we had a very well-balanced game. And as one caller pointed out, there were 4 bad drops. Well, Riley was 16 for 22. If those drops didn't happen, he's 20 for 22. He's improving. And so little bit, little steps every week, that's encouraging. And overall, I was looking at, with all these injuries, we're going to be loaded with depth and talent next year.
Yeah,
And-
hey, listen, I want to bring this up. I'm glad you brought this up. I actually think I wrote about this the night after the game. All of these injuries and the depth issues we have, to where you have a lot of freshmen contributing in major roles here in must-win games. That's hard now because you're going to end up with rookie mistakes and those kind of, missteps and things that young and experienced players do. But in a couple years, man, Notre Dame's going to benefit a lot from these younger guys that got real snaps and they're building real confidence. And a lot of those guys look like they fit in on a college field already. It is a good sign for the future.
Absolutely. Those young kids are stepping up. That's impressive. And we don't get credit for that. It is what it is. So look for the good. And it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. And so
I'm excited for the rest of this year. And the future is, I like rocking chair games, but the future looks really, really bright. Now we just got to put pressure on Bavacqua to not schedule games like Swarbrick did for Kelly to make him look good. Let's take on the toughest. Let's get rid of the slippery rocks, etc. And let's take on more Big Ten and SEC and knock them in the dirt.
Yeah, I don't know. It's this schedule. I just can't. It is the weirdest dynamic with Notre Dame's schedule this year and how it's all shaped out. And the teams that you thought were going to be the hardest teams are not having good years. And then these surprise teams are going to be good and a pain in the butt to beat on the back end of the schedule. It's just, it is almost overwhelming. This is just a week-to-week battle. Almost all I could think about is just one game at a time, one unique battle at a time, and move on. It's wild.
Absolutely. You got to take what you got. And my two biggest worries at the beginning of the season were Louisville, we blew them out, and USC, and they're still going to be tough because it's Notre Dame USC. They're going to step up for that.
Yeah, and we don't always play the best going out there to the Coliseum too. That's a tough travel situation, and that's a tough. It isn't going to be because the crowd's too fired up. I can promise you that. It's just a tough travel situation going out to the Coliseum. Always has been.
Oh, especially going coast to coast. The week before, we're in Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, you know what you call that? It's the full Rockney, man. That's the full Rockney trip. Yankee Stadium, Army, and then all the way to the West Coast to play in the Coliseum. That is literally the rock. I call it the Rockney trip, man.
That is. And it'll be exciting. That'll be my second game this year. I went to A&M, so I'm bookending them this year. And then be at Arkansas next year. But, I love rocking chair games. We finally had one. And then, of course, we get screwed out of it by Swarbrick's NBC Peacock deal where they don't show the rest of it.
Yeah. Listen, man, that's what this is. The new age of college football. Used to be that NBC network and Notre Dame are in bed together and it's all about promoting Notre Dame or whatever. And on this one, they were like, nope, we want to get to our night game on NBC on time. You're going to CNBC and the Peacock, baby. Well, hey, that's the new age of these business deals.
Well, it's time to get a new deal.
Yeah.
New AD, new deal.
Well, didn't they just make a new deal? So I don't know. It's going to be, well, we'll see what happens with all this playoff stuff, and let's see how this goes. And if Notre Dame needs to change their approach with some things with the conference and whatever else, and we'll see what we're gonna do. So, anything else in your mind today? What do you feel about? How are you feeling about this trip to Atlanta in the Dome? You feel confident?
I do. I didn't at the first of the year. Seeing how they jumped out to a strong start and they looked good. That's Georgia Tech I'm speaking of. And then we had our little stumble. But I hate NFL stadiums. You spend all your time watching on a huge screen when you pay all this money to go watch a game. But you mentioned something that really rankles me, and that's conferences. Conferences are for pussies that can't play as independents. Look what happened to Penn State. Look what happened to Miami. These were once strong teams. Nebraska is another one. And they join a conference and their program withers up. We're Notre Dame. They're not. If they're going to bitch about it, why don't they go independent and let's see how they fare?
Now, what would your reaction be, though, if they said, well, wait a second, look at Notre Dame's independent schedule. That's not impressive. What would you say if they look at that? They'd say, look at this. You got Northern Illinois on the schedule, a couple academies. What do you do? Miami, Ohio? And like, what's your reaction to that?
I go back to the days of old where we scheduled harder. We didn't pull this Schwarbrick, trying to help out Kelly, make him look good. And we just schedule tougher. Let's schedule more SEC. Let's schedule more Big Ten. If we're going to lose, let's lose to Georgia.
Yeah.
And we went down there when they won the national championship. We punched them in the mouth. We ended up losing by 1. And Notre Dame can hang. We just have to keep moving forward. Stop playing stop scheduling these, lunch pail games because they jump up to bite us in the ass. I was proud to say we never played a MAC school. Now we're playing a MAC school every year.
Yeah. I was mad about that when Notre Dame, finally broke the barrier of playing like a non-Division I team or whatever you want to call it. I was upset about that too. I liked holding on to that. I think USC was the only other team that was in that category. So I don't know, man. You just got to keep winning. Keep winning. 1 win a week is all you need to do, and Notre Dame will be where we want them to be. So I don't know. Anything else, my friend? Thanks for calling on a Monday.
Yeah, happy birthday and go Irish.
Oh, thanks a lot, buddy. Take care. Have a good one. Have a good one. 937, what's going on? Let's keep it moving. What's up, 937?
Hey, John, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I got you. What's up?
Hey, a couple of things. First, pretty good win. I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'm glad that guy called before me because it's kind of gonna echo. I listen, so I get up at the crack of dawn to do work and stuff like that, and I listen to the post-game show. Before I get into that, one thing, I cannot wait to see Bryce Young next year with 15 more pounds of muscle on that body.
Yep.
He is going to be an absolute nightmare. I mean, just, when you hear the recruiting stories of different kind of guys, that dude is just going to be legit. I mean, absolutely legit. The RJ Oben experiment is over. That dude needs starter minutes every game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just,
he's just going to keep getting better and fill out that body frame in the right way and get more comfortable. He's already he's nimble. He's nimble for that size. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, he's a 3-year player, so use him for all 3 years. You know what I mean? But anyways, so I'm listening to your post-game show. It's going to echo a little bit going into the guy that just called. And I don't want to pile on these guys to a certain extent, but I'm gonna. There was a dude that called in last Saturday night that was disgusted by our unsportsmanship of running up the score.
Yep.
Look, my first game at 4 years old was 1978. So I guess I'm kind of an in-between old-timer, in-between, and I have been to at least one game every year other than COVID since 1978. So I've seen the Holtz years, 93, all of that crap. And let me tell you that we don't run the triple option anymore. Teams don't run the triple option anymore. When you have an opportunity to bury a team, everybody buries teams now. That's just the way sports are. And it's not like we left Riley Leonard in and Jeremiah Love in and the first team. The backups got to get reps too, dude. They got to run the offense. And if your team is not good enough to stop it, that's a you problem. I mean, teams all across the country, you have a game where you're going to hang 50, 60 points on somebody just because you're just that much better than them. And to say that you're just absolutely disgusted with Marcus Freeman because he was running the offense with the backups, see, that is the problem with some of the Notre Dame fans. And don't get me wrong, I am a Notre Dame fan that is shrouded in negativity 95% of the time. But in games like this, you get like, okay, we're making improvement, whatever. This could be a little better. That could be a little better. But to get upset over running the offense in the fourth quarter with your backup and then saying that you would want Marcus Freeman fired over that is absolutely asinine. And those are the type of freaking fans that need to stay home, eat their Werther's Original, drink a warm glass of milk, and just watch the games at home. Those are the type of fans that make the environment at Notre Dame lame. And then on to the next caller.
Yeah,
Sorry,
go ahead. You got something. You got something on everybody. Keep it going.
So on to the next caller. When they go to make these schedules, who's to say that Texas A&M, when you go and make the schedule on the road, SEC team, they could have conceivably been a top 10, top 5 team. Florida State was a top 10 team going into this season, preseason. You have USC at the end of the season. I mean, it's not like teams like Ohio State and all these teams are just playing a gauntlet of juggernauts in their off-season and their pre-conference schedule. They play Marshall. They play bums. And then it's not like the Big Ten is chocked full of offensive juggernauts. I mean, come on. This isn't 1977 anymore, dude. Everybody can beat anybody on a given day. There are enough athletes out there that it happens. Vandy just beat Alabama. Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame at home. It happens. So what are you supposed to do? Oh, we're going to play Texas A&M. Follow that up with Clemson, Georgia. I mean, come on. What? I mean, am I off base here?
Yeah,
Is all of this wrong?
The Notre Dame thing
is. It was a good win. Since it was a good win, I'm going to attack the callers rather than attacking the team.
Right. The Notre Dame scheduling thing is funny because everybody wants to play a really respectable, tough schedule, but then also everybody's furious if you don't win every single game. So it's like, it's a big balancing act of like how many great teams you want to play in a year versus you expect to win all these games and never have an off week. You know what I mean? It's a tough little dynamic to thread the needle.
Yeah, I mean, and it's kind of back to, what I was saying about taking the foot off the gas. There's something to be said, back in the Brian Kelly era, not that long ago, right? We would get leads up on teams, and then we would take our foot off the gas and just allow kind of what happened in the Louisville game, right? We had them on the ropes, and then complacency sets in. You make a mistake. That game should have never been close. Never should have been close in the fourth quarter. But here they are again, and I stand by this. Brian Kelly's the coach of that team. They lose that game. I stand by that. Whatever. Yeah. I could be wrong. But that's you saw it so many times. You'd have a team against the ropes, and you just start getting complacent, and then a mistake happens, and it lets the other team in the game. No. If you have a chance to bury a team, you bury them.
Yeah, look, I don't know.
It's professional sport. It's professional sports now, dude. These guys are getting paid to play.
Yeah, it's
so you play them.
And the other thing is, like, I wrote about this too. There is a different level of confidence your team builds when you really do blow somebody out, and even when your backups are in, you're blowing a team. You're piling it on. Like, there is a different kind of level of confidence you reach when you're dominating by that much, of like feeling yourself and having that confidence that you're capable of doing that to somebody. And I do think that's important to build in a team or whatever. I didn't expect that call, but to each their own.
Yeah. Yeah. But it just, like I said, it was fresh in my brain since I listened to it this morning. And I just thought I'd weigh in on it and give you my 2 cents. Not that anybody really gets
Well,
it.
hey, I appreciate it. No, I appreciate that's what the phone lines are for on a Monday morning.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. You got anything else? Give me a call later in the week.
Nope,
If
man,
not,
that's it.
Hey.
All right. Appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking the call.
No problem. I really appreciate it on a Monday morning. Thanks a lot. Anders says, can we be honest? If Freeman can't make the playoff with this schedule, when will he ever make it? I hope Bavacqua feels this way. I mean, looking at that schedule entering the year, you certainly did feel that way. 304, what's going on? Welcome to the show. 304, what's up? Beep, beep. 304, what's up? Going once, going twice. He gone. Oh, look at this. I believe it's the guy that thinks that we blew the team out by too much. Let's see his response. Unless I'm wrong, I think this is him. 917, is this you?
Hey, John, it's Pat from West Palm. Thanks for taking the call.
Pat, it is you. I got to be honest with you, buddy. You've been taking some shots since your call on the postgame show. A lot of people have reached out to me. I've gotten emails. I've gotten direct messages on Twitter. A lot of people did not agree with your position, and I will just give you the floor to let you say whatever you want to say about it. The floor is yours, buddy.
I wish you had a conference feature where I could be conferenced in to address people like the clown who just called.
You know what? I think I could actually figure that out. I honestly think I think there's a way for me to pull 2 calls up at the same time and let you guys debate. Maybe I'll try and figure that out. I do think it's possible. Good point.
Well, I don't even know where to start, because when you hear certain levels of stupidity, it's hard to even address them. They're so, you have to like recalibrate your whole mind. But I'll start with this. Number one, the people who are saying that Jimmy Johnson played his starters are totally wrong. Jimmy Johnson was playing his backups. The criticism from Ara Parseghian, now half of the fan base is saying, this guy thinks Ara Parseghian was the coach back in 1985. No, I don't. Ara Parseghian was the color commentator for the telecast of the game. Ara Parseghian criticized Jimmy Johnson at the time for throwing the ball late in the game. That's number one. Number two, I didn't call into your show, John, after the Purdue game. I have no problem with blowing a team out. None whatsoever. My point is and was that with 2 minutes to go or less in a game, you don't throw the ball. You know why, John? Because not only is it tasteless, it's cowardly. You know why it's cowardly? Because there's an unspoken handshake agreement among coaches that when a game is so far out of hand, inside of 2 minutes, the defense isn't going to blitz because they're not trying to get a hit on your quarterback. And the other side of the equation is the offense hands the ball off. That's the deal. Watch any game that's as lopsided as that one. In the final 2 minutes, you will not see a defense blitz, and you will not see an offense throw the ball with less than 2 minutes. It's a cowardly call. Now, I've been thinking, as I said a lot of hard words about Freeman, maybe it was Denbrock's doing. You know what I mean? Maybe it's Denbrock who's the scumbag trying to run up the score, because Denbrock stands to gain from it, right? Because the points per game go up if you can get a cheap touchdown against Stanford with a minute and a half to go by throwing it into the end zone. So maybe Denbrock's the guy that I consider a sleazeball. I don't really know. Freeman is ultimately the responsible. But it's a cowardly play, because if you know, as the gentleman's agreement is and throughout football, that the other side is not going to blitz you, calling a play-action pass is the cheapest thing imaginable, Because the correct play call against the play action pass is a blitz. Because a play action pass takes a long time to develop. And if you're sending some guy off the edge, your quarterback can get a hit right in the backside. So it's a cowardly, cheap play call by Denbrock and or Freeman. I don't know who called the play inside of 2 minutes. The last thing I'll say is Ara Parseghian isn't the only Notre Dame coach who agrees with me that you show a little bit of class and you don't run up a score. You know, there's another coach, Lou Holtz. In 1993, Lou Holtz played against Purdue. Purdue was a crap team. The Irish struggled with Purdue the whole game. We were up 10-0, end of the game in 1993. We had the ball on Purdue's 3-yard line, and we had a chance to punch it in with 30 seconds to go. And Holtz started screaming to the offense not to run the next play. And after the game, Holtz said, that score should have been 10-0, not 17-0. We have more respect for Purdue than that, than to run up the score. So I have Parseghian and Holtz on my side. All the clowns in your chat, you should really call that chat the kennel or something. It's a bunch of puppies just chirping and, making these crude insults, whatever. I have two former coaches, successful coaches, who thought that you can actually win championships and comport yourself with class. They have nothing on their side. You can say whatever you want about how we need to be tougher. Let me tell you something. It's not tough to run up the score on the other team. There's nothing tough about that. Rudeness is a weak man's imitation of strength, and running up the score is a weak coach's imitation of dominance. And whoever called that pass play with 2 minutes to left is a weak coach, a stupid coach, and a despicable coach, because running up the score is never justified. And anybody that says that game was in doubt and you have to put a team away, I agree, you put a team away. But I got news. The score was 49-7. That game was over with less than 2 minutes to go, and there was no excuse for that play call.
Okay, so the pushback would be, listen, we got all the backups in. They need to work on things, and it isn't helping us that much for the backup to just come in and hand off the ball when nobody's trying. And you have an obligation to see what you could do and do what you could do on offense. The offense is if you had a weaker part of the team, the offense would be it. And you want to, what about that argument? I'm just trying to play the other side for you to debate against. And it would be, listen, man, we need to work on stuff, and we can't just have the backups hand the ball over. I need them to throw the ball once in a while, see what we got. What would you react to that?
My reaction to that is that's what the whole fourth quarter was for, and I have no problem with Angeli throwing the ball with 6 or 7 minutes to go and running the offense. I'm talking about less than 2 minutes to go, where you can take a knee, and with the 40-second play clock, you could burn the clock out. That's what you should do when you're up 6 touchdowns with 2 minutes to go. So Angeli had gotten his work. I have no problem with that. What I would question people is this. Is there ever a time for taking a knee? Is there ever a time? But the people who are against me saying we should run it up, I'll ask them this. You should be angry. Freeman and Denbrock didn't call timeouts at the end of the game. Why not start calling timeouts to work your offense and really try to punch it in? In other words, either you believe that there's such a thing, that there's a time and place for the victory formation where you call off the dogs, or you don't. I would say that there's a time and place for it, and it's inside of 2 minutes when you're up 6 touchdowns. Other people disagree. But I have no problem with a lopsided score. I didn't call into your show, John, after the Purdue game. I had no problem with how that was handled. I had a big problem with throwing the ball with less than 2 minutes to go this past Saturday.
Hey, at least you're holding firm to your position. You've come up with some more research and stuff behind it. Like, everybody can think what they want to think. It wasn't on my radar of all the things I was thinking about after the game. That wasn't on my radar. But if it bothers you, I mean, you're entitled to that. Let it bother you. And you just got to understand a lot of people are going to disagree. And that's just the way it's going to go, man. People have been giving you a hard time since then. I'm not going to lie.
I'm happy to debate anybody anytime. And I'll have Holtz and the memory of Parseghian on my side. And you can say whatever they want. You could say Holtz was wine and cheese. You could say Parseghian is wine and cheese. let me tell you something. There's nothing honorable about being tasteless and classless. I hold Notre Dame to an extremely high standard, right? But I don't want them to totally act like a bunch of degenerates from the University of Miami.
Yeah.
That's where I draw the line. You have to draw a line somewhere. And so I think I'm very consistent that I want championship level football. But you don't get that by acting tasteless and classless. Tim Brown, I never saw him once act classless. I never saw the Rocket talk any trash. Were they soft players? Did they not play hard? I think they played really hard. But I think you could play hard and comport yourself like a person with class, not act like a University of Miami thug. You know what I mean? Like, there's two different things here.
Man.
There's something to do with playing hard or winning a championship. I don't want the school to degenerate into a bunch of thugs. And I think that Holtz and his predecessors proved you can win championships without acting like classless thugs that just got out of a penitentiary. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see the connection between acting without class and success on the field. I don't think those two things are connected at all.
Well, we got your position down. You've defended it and doubled down on it. And if you want, moving forward, I will look into how to do the feature. And if you want to do a debate segment with somebody over this, I would love to set that up. That would be gold for content. I don't want to set you up for something you don't want to do. But if you ever wanted to debate this with another Notre Dame fan, I'll look into how to do a thing where we could do it. And it'd be a golden segment for me. So if you want to do that in the future, let me know.
I'll do it, but I'll do it with one of these clowns in your chat that make these insults. You know what? I'll do it with anybody that thinks I'm wine and cheese. That's what I'll do.
All right. Well,
to me, I promised my wife I wouldn't call in, but I had to call her about an hour ago saying they're calling me wine and cheese, and that's to me the greatest of insults.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
I can't tolerate being called wine and cheese. So if somebody wants to call me wine and cheese, let's have that debate. Because they don't even understand what wine and cheese is.
Yeah, if you are up for it, I don't want to put anybody in a position that's awkward for them, but if you're up for it, we should have you debate somebody who's on the other side. It'd be good for content. So maybe we'll set that up sometime, because I think it'd be a really interesting segment. Listen, man, don't let it bother you. Don't let the people in the chat get to you. Have a good Monday, okay, man?
Don, I love the show. Love what you're doing. I appreciate the forum. God bless you.
Hey, thank you very much, man. And listen, that is a man who's doubling down. He's doubling down, Pat. What do you make of it, buddy? What do you think, Pat? Is he right or wrong?
He's wrong. He's wrong. And people making fun of him in the chat. I don't know. Grow a pair. Get some thick skin. Somebody on the internet's making fun of you, and you have to call your wife to tell your wife that you're going to call in. You think I just walked out of the room with my wife? I didn't tell her I'm going to call in. I didn't ask for permission. What the F is this guy's problem? Stanford 49-7. They were getting the backup quarterback reps by throwing the football. They weren't throwing 50-yard bombs. I've been to plenty of Notre Dame games with Lou Holtz where they were beating Navy 63-10 or something like that. Like, what the F is that? He's like, I don't even get it. He wasn't throwing 50-yard bombs. It's not 1988. He doesn't want to have Miami thugs. Well, guess what? You haven't won in 35 years. You haven't won in 35 years. So if you are content with losing Notre Dame, or if you are content with this team not winning football, then this is what you got. This is what you get. This guy right here, because he would rather sacrifice what his perception. He would rather sacrifice what his perception of Notre Dame standards are for the one Notre Dame standard that there actually is, which is winning championships.
Man,
that's all it is.
I just didn't
come on. What are we talking about here? Notre Dame just had a great victory, and this guy's bitching about them beating them 49-7. I'm not even going to call it running up the score. They weren't running up the score. It was 49-7. That's what they should have done to this team. And we're talking about the quarterback throwing the ball in the fourth quarter. When you go into the victory formation, when you can kneel on the ball 3 times and the other team can't, and it's going to run the clock out. That's when you go into victory formation. But if you can't kneel on the ball 3 times and run the clock out, you got to run a play. I don't care if Angeli throws a pass in that banner as long as it's caught, because I don't want the clock to stop. But dear God, what? This is what we're talking about. This is why Notre Dame fans suck. This is why we suck. This is why Notre Dame loses, because these are the arguments we have. Instead of and then calling for Freeman to be fired over it? Are you ludicrous? Like we want to fire a coach for winning a football game? Are you serious? Oh my God! You know what? This is why I don't like Notre Dame fans. I hate Notre Dame fans almost more than I hate Michigan fans. All right, I gotta go. I'll talk to you later.
All right, see ya. I think he was on a work call that whole time and had somebody on hold just to do that little monologue and then drop off. 502, we're talking to you. What's going on?
Hey, good morning, John.
What's up?
I want to talk about 716 caller. It'll be quick.
Okay.
There was absolutely nothing classless about the way Notre Dame finished that game last week. Obviously, someone crapped in that guy's cornflakes once again. And, he's all bent out of shape about people calling him wine and cheese. Bingo. Wine and cheese, that guy. I mean, I didn't even know I almost think he's trolling us.
Man, okay, now wait.
That's ridiculous.
Now wait. I'm going to defend him a little bit because he has a call history and he calls a lot and he calls regularly. And it's usually a bunch of old school stuff about like Notre Dame, getting back to Notre Dame football and the standards and big time winning and all that kind of stuff. Like that's his history, is like we're not honoring our history by winning enough and by enough and all that stuff. That's the part that threw me off, because he's an old school Notre Dame guy from when we were like dominating. And so that's why it threw me off, because it's like it's never we're not doing enough to win by enough, and then now we did too much. So it's just kind of, that's what threw me off.
Yeah, I mean, if he wants to live in the past, that's fine. But hey, it's 2024. The whole scene has changed with NIL and the portal and everything else. So, anyways, the guy's obviously entitled to his opinion. I just think he's way off base.
Man, I just didn't expect it. It is the last call. It is the last call I expected to get on the postgame show. I was very few things blindside me on this show. Like, I'm pretty nimble with going with the flow. Wherever the callers go, I could kind of go with them. And I did not expect that one. And he was dead serious. I thought he was joking at first. He was dead serious. It wasn't even something I thought about. When I was getting ready to go live at the end of the game, I wasn't even thinking of that. Everybody's entitled to their opinion.
Yeah, it was a real buzzkill. Sorry that the guy called in. Anyways, I thought it was a great weekend, especially after following up after the break and the Louisville game. And I'm looking forward to Georgia Tech.
Hey,
and keep hanging on to our playoff hopes.
That's it. It's just
it's good things.
It is 6 1-week battles for your playoff livelihood. And I almost appreciate the clarity. Like, it's crystal clear to me. You just need to keep winning, and I don't care what it looks like, just keep winning. Like, I appreciate the clarity now. You got a 6-game season, you got to win them all, baby.
Yep. And super positive things with Leonard. I mean, I thought that might have been kind of the turning point for him in the season, and with him trusting Denbrock and working in the new system.
Now let me ask this. Are you confident that we're going to see some incremental improvement and that we're going to we could grow the passing game from there? Or do you think the only reason we had decent numbers is because they're so bad at it, one of the worst in the country? Or do you think that there's something there that we could kind of anchor onto and grow from there? That's my question this week.
Yeah, I think it's onward and upward. I saw something in the Louisville game. I ended up going to that Louisville game, and there was a play where he threw the screen to Love, and Love ran down, scored a touchdown. I watched Leonard right after he made that throw and we scored. He looked right over at Denbrock and pointed to him like, "Hey, you're the man. Like, you were right. Like, I trust you."
Yeah.
That to me said, "Hey, all right."
Man, if you could, This game stands out to me just because there was some balance, and I'm not used to that from Notre Dame's offense this year. And I count that as progress, even against a very, very bad passing defending team. I look at it as progress now, and I just hope you can build on it. I hope we don't revert back when you play a little bit of a better defense. You go back to not being able to throw the ball past 5 yards. I really want to see if they could grow from here in this stupid dome in Atlanta. Let's see what we get.
All right. That's it for me, John. Thanks.
Have a good one.
Rest of the week.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, folks, hate to do this, but I got a Zoom at 10:30, so I'm going to have to get going. And it's for Always Irish. I got stuff cooking. I'm trying to do some networking here. So I got a Zoom at 10:30. Which is now. So I got to hop off and tend to that. And then I got something for you tomorrow. I think I'm going to post some Goolsby going over some film from this game and what he sees with Notre Dame's good defensive output. So I think we're going to have some Goolsby film tomorrow. And then we'll go from there. It's going to be the Boomer takeover today. Like, listen, man, I didn't expect it coming. If he wants to debate Pat or somebody else and we put it on the air and we make it a segment, we could do that. All right. I'm late on the Zoom. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the donation, especially Donnie, the $100 holler, man. It's a big deal. It goes right to the call-in lines. I am Tom's over here defending the Boomers. Don't lump all of us Boomers in the same bracket. So Tom's over here defending the honor of the Boomers. But God bless everybody. Thanks for being here. If you're off work today, enjoy the day off. Do something relaxing you want to do. But thanks for being here. Thanks for donating. Thanks for calling. If you were on hold, I do apologize. I wasn't able to get to you. Got to cut us a half hour short today. So love you guys. Thanks for everybody that's checking out the Patreon content. We love pumping that out. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for being here. Good numbers on a Monday. Thank you.